Hello and welcome to Elite Weather Forecasting. My name is Mr. G. I am your weather forecaster for this channel, and thank you for joining me. It's kind of late in the day, but I wanted to make sure, and I didn't feel the greatest today, so it's taking a little bit of effort to get out here and do this video tonight. But we are going to be talking about Hurricane Milton, as it's just about making landfall right about now. It's scheduled to make landfall between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time. But the eye wall is actually coming onshore right now. So we are going to be taking a look at that as Hurricane Milton begins to make landfall in western Florida, on the western side of the Florida Peninsula, just south of Tampa, just north of Naples in Sarasota. So we are watching Hurricane Milton make landfall pretty much at this time. A little bit earlier than forecasted too, but we are going to be taking a look at the map. So before we continue, I do want to shout out a person I've been seeing on TikTok over the last couple of days. The saga of a man named Dan. I think his name is Joe, but everybody has nicknamed him Lieutenant Dan. He's a homeless guy that has a sailboat, and he's got an old sailboat. It's about 45 years old, and he's going to ride out the storm on his sailboat. He's a disabled guy. He's got like one leg or something. I think he's a veteran or something. I'm not sure, but he's been all over my TikTok the last couple of days, and folks have been following his story, and as he prepares to ride out the storm. Apparently the police and the mayor and the other people have tried to convince him to go to a hotel or shelter or somewhere, but he's going to stick with it because he says it's all he has is that sailboat, an old sailboat, because the government apparently discontinued his disability benefits because they said he wasn't disabled anymore. So how does a guy with one leg suddenly be declared as not disabled anymore? So the government's so weird with things. So this is why it's so hard for people to get disability. I know a lot of people who have to fight that battle to get disability and things like that. Need lawyers and all that kind of stuff just to get a check for $1,000 a month or whatever it is. It's never really all that much. But anyway, as we continue with today's video, and hopefully my picture is good on here today, and we're going to take a look at Hurricane Milton and what's going on out there right now. Let's talk about other places and other weather, because there are some other weather taking place right now other than the hurricane. So Hurricane Milton right now, there's the eye wall. You can see that rotation right here as the eye begins to interact with the west coast of the Florida Peninsula. There's Tampa right here. There's Tampa, so it's just south of Tampa. Sarasota is right about here. So we're seeing the hurricane make landfall just right about now. You can see part of the eye wall is actually over the land, so you can see the hurricane is actually making landfall right about now as we are in the 7 o'clock hour Eastern time, and Hurricane Milton appears to be making landfall at this time. And you can see most of the rain is being pushed to the north of the center of circulation. The majority of the rain is going to be north, so you see the storm surge here, and you might actually get off a little bit easier as the little bit less impacts from storm surge over the Tampa area, but you will see that storm surge impact much more prominent south here in this region here, and over the southern areas, you're going to see more of that storm surge that could be at least 15 feet in height. So, and then our next map here is our landfall area. So 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. But according to that map, it looks like it's making landfall right now. So an hour early, at least at minimum, at least an hour earlier, we're seeing it making landfall, and this is the region where that landfall can occur. So, and we'll see it coming on shore right now. So, here is our wind gust reports from the last 24 hours, and we can see that from West Palm Beach, and we had a 92-mile-per-hour gust in Palm Harbor. We had an 87-mile-per-hour gust, a 77-mile-per-hour gust in Davenport. Sarasota had a 77-mile-per-hour wind gust, and Venice had a 74-miles-per-hour wind gust over the last 24 hours. And another thing that's been really bad with this storm, we've seen a lot of tornadoes, and even some pretty big tornadoes. I saw a video of a wedge tornado today in Florida, so we see a lot of tornadoes, and we're going to show you a lot. This is the tornado warnings that we've seen over the last 24 hours. Look at all of these tornado warnings that have occurred over the Florida Peninsula, down across South Florida, up to Port St. Lucie, and Melbourne, Orlando. We've seen tornado warnings all over Central Florida. So that's one of the things that's been, we see all these thunderstorms here, and all of these thunderstorms are capable of producing tornadoes. There's an eye wall coming onshore, so we are seeing those tornadoes out there. That's another byproduct of hurricanes, are tornadoes. And here is our storm surge there. We can see our 15-foot plus storm surge there in the blue in there. Here we can see there's a little bit lesser storm surge as you go further away from the eye wall in the storm system itself. And we'll see that storm surge decrease in height as you go further to the north, where you can see north up Tampa up to where Cedar Key is. That storm surge could be up to 5 feet, and we can also see a 5-foot storm surge on the East Coast as well, near Daytona Beach, because we're going to see that hurricane emerge in the Atlantic tomorrow. So that storm is going to travel across the Florida Peninsula overnight and emerge in the Atlantic tomorrow. A much weaker storm, but it will still be a hurricane, at least the Category 1, the Category 2 hurricane when it emerges in Atlantic tomorrow. So we can still see storm surge on the east coast of Florida as well. And here is going to be our maximum wind potential. And the strongest winds we can see here across from Sarasota, Tampa, down to Cape Coral, Florida. Cape Coral, Florida, we can see those winds. So you can see that these winds can be over 140 up to 110 miles per hour. These will be winds in excess of 110 miles per hour. We have a Category 3, Category 4 storm coming on shore right now. So we're seeing winds 140 miles per hour around the eye wall of the storm as it makes its way on shore. And here it is, as you can see, it's coming on shore right now. There is the Florida Peninsula. You can see the eye wall right there as it makes its way on shore. It's currently making landfall at this time a little bit earlier than expected. So its forward progression is going pretty fast here. And you can see this here. This is the track for overnight and into your Friday. So we're going to see the next couple of days as Hurricane Milton treks across the state tonight, emerging on the East Coast tomorrow morning at about 7 a.m. It's going to emerge into the Atlantic and make its way out into the Atlantic north of the Bahamas and eventually affecting Bermuda. But it will be much weaker when it reaches Bermuda. We're going to see a much weaker storm. Here's another look at the storm as it comes on shore, and you can see that rainfall over across northern Florida. You can see our eye wall right here. There's the center of circulation coming on shore there. You can see it clearly. It has come on shore, and you can see that most of the rainfall is to the north and to the west of the eye. So we'll see the storm surge right in this region here. You'll see a lot of the water actually pull back over Tampa. The storm will actually pull the water out of the Tampa Bay out into the Gulf of Mexico and then bring it around on this side at the southern edge of the the eye wall, you'll see that water come back on shore. So the water that's going out is going to eventually come back in. You'll see it come back in. So if Lieutenant Dan is still out there, hopefully he'll be okay, and he can. They've repositioned him, hopefully to make him where he would be a little bit less exposed. So hopefully they've got him into a safer spot. All right, so here we go again. Another look at the storm as it comes on shore. And here are those wind gusts. I think I'm going in the wrong direction here. So we're going to be tracking back, going back here. There's a storm surge. You can see it. Here are some of our wind gust forecasts that we are going to be seeing. So when the storm begins to weaken and as it comes on shore, we're going to see winds gusts from 90 to 100 miles per hour around Tampa. Sarasota, we're going to see those winds about 80 to 90 miles per hour. Winter Haven, 80 to 90. Melbourne, 70 to 80. 70 to 80 down by Vero Beach. Daytona, 90 to 100 miles per hour. Orlando will see 80 miles per hour wind gusts as well as the hurricane crosses the state of Florida as it weakens slightly tonight. Again, here is, let's see, am I having issues with there is the rainfall forecasts that are still to come. It has it pegged as a category 3 as it comes across Tampa, and you can see the majority of that rainfall is going to be north of the center of circulation, north and east across central and northern Florida. We can still pick up as much as 8 to 12 inches of rain overnight and tomorrow morning here across central and north Florida. So in other weather, yeah, we have been seeing very quiet weather across the rest of America for the most part. And we're going to see a shot of cooler weather, much cooler weather, coming into the the northern Great Lakes and the eastern Great Lakes and the northeast and New England. So we have the potential for some frost now. We have to see a frost potential tonight and into tomorrow morning. So we can see temperatures cold enough for frost. And we're going to see that cooler weather continue. We're going to see some showers into this, maybe some snow through at least 3,500 feet there in the mountains of Vermont and New Hampshire. We can see some snow as well, some light snow, so not a whole lot, but just enough to make maybe see it falling, but and on the grass it'll probably make a coating or so on the grass, but we're not going to see a lot of accumulation. But it will be cold enough to see the first snowflakes of the season tonight. And this is what we're going to see tomorrow, as we're going to see temperatures as much as 12 degrees below the historical average for this time of the year. So for your Thursday and into Friday, we're going to see this pocket of colder air working its way across the mid-Atlantic and into the Northeast and New England, over southern Canada, and to the eastern Great Lakes as well. We're going to see this pocket of colder air. Mostly dry. There's a little bit of snowflakes. Might be some cold rain showers as well in some of this, but for the most part, it's going to be very light precipitation, if any. So we've been seeing a lot of very dry weather across much of the country, with the exception of tropical systems on the East Coast and the Southeast and across the state of Florida. We've seen any significant rainfall over the last week or so is in those regions. So again, we got very hot weather to talk about across the Southwest into California and the southern deserts. We're looking at very hot weather. We're still looking at triple-digit heat in the 110-degree range from Vegas down to Phoenix for your Thursday and Friday as well. We're going to see that very hot temperatures. Then we're going to be seeing that heat expand across the southeast, and trough moving across the north central part of the country will make things a bit cooler but comfortable. Not so cold, but it will be a little bit cooler, a lot less humidity, cooler temperatures, and fairly dry weather as well. So I'm pretty comfortable across the northern part of the country. So Montana through Idaho, the Pacific Northwest, as well as into the northern plains in the upper Midwest and the upper Mississippi River Valley. We will see things fairly cooler and dry as well. So not too bad weather to talk about across the rest of the lower 48, with the exception of hurricane ravaged Florida in the southeastern U.S. We are also tracking a couple more potential hurricanes as well. So we do have a 30% chance of another storm right on the heels of Hurricane Milton. So in tomorrow's video, we'll talk about the potential for other storms, and plus track an update on the latest on Milton and talk about what's going on in other parts of the country. My name is Julie Godot, and good luck tonight to Lieutenant Dan down there in the Tampa Bay on his boat. Thank you for watching me today in today's video, even though it's a late one. But thanks for watching, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. So have a great day, and bye-bye. And be safe in Florida.